We recently found out that Ben Shapiro accepted the invite to debate Candace Owens, even though Ben Shapiro the whole time knew that the Daily Wire had a gag order on Candace Owens, and he was never planning to debate Candace Owens in the first place. But Candace is not backing down from the whole situation, even though there is a gag order on her, even though the entirety of the Daily Wire are trying to smear Candace Owens after firing her from the company. She's definitely not backing down. She is actually going on the offensive once again on Twitter. And then we have another video clip to show you here in 1 second. Here is a tweet from earlier today from Candace Owens saying, looks like the latest definition of anti-Semitism, which I'm going to try to not say too much in this video, is the belief that AIPAC, which I'll also try not to say too much in this video, which kind of proves that Candace Owens is right, doesn't it? And all apparent foreign body or foreign lobbyist should be banned from influencing our elections and attacking our congressmen. At this point, I think we need Amber Alerts of the daily definition of anti, that word, that Ben Shapiro's favorite word is what we'll call it from now on. Candace Owens also goes on to say, and this is the really base tweet that I think caught a lot of people off guard, because she just basically said the quiet part out loud, as they like to say, but in a positive way. Like I agree with Candace Owens here, and let me know in the comments if you disagree or agree with what Candace has to say right here. But she says, me trying to explain the definition of anti-Semitism to my kids, like it's also Christ is king, but sometimes also mourning dead Palestinian children, but also harboring the beliefs that AIPAC people, I don't know, I have to say it, I don't know what pseudonym to use for AIPAC, but we'll just say it, shouldn't intimidate politicians, but also bringing up how Israel, Ben Shapiro's favorite country, conducted a terrorist attack on Americans aboard the USS Liberty, but also discussing Bolshevism and the Christian Holocaust, but also like reading the lawsuit against Diddy and asking meaningful questions, but also like defending yourself against a rabbi that's threatening your life, but also like defending yourself at all sometimes, but also looking into the history of corn, but also like mourning dead Christians in Armenia at an ill-advised time, but also like discussing the objective history of psychology and transgenderism, but also like asking any questions sometimes, or wondering how the definition of anti-Semitism seems to mutate daily. These are things, I mean, this is Candace Owens just coming out and swinging. Like she's just saying, this is what I truly believe. Here you go. Like, this is the frustrations that I'm going through. And these are things that like you have to give Candace Owens credit. No matter if you disagree with Candace Owens, maybe you're on the side of the Daily Wire. Let me know in the comments if you are. I would love to disagree with you. I would love to hear how the hell anyone's defending the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro in this situation. Candace Owens, even if you disagree, you have to respect her because she's the only person that's actually willing to say her true thoughts on this thing. If anyone in politics, if any actual politician were to say this exact tweet right here, which is not anything super crazy, she's not saying anything hateful, and if anyone is, then I disagree with them. Like, I don't think you shouldn't be saying anything hateful. Candace Owens is not. She's just saying, I've been called this word, Ben Shapiro's favorite word, for all of these things, which makes no sense. These things make no sense that she would get called that word, that anti-word, for these things that she's asking, these questions that she's asking. But they don't. Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire have proven over and over again, they don't like you asking any questions. That anti-word, Ben Shapiro's favorite word, is just an easy way to shut down you asking these questions. And if you haven't seen the GIF that she put right here, it's this one. A bunch of equations with a very confused face. And of course, all of her comments are very, very positive in the fact that they're agreeing with what Candace Owens has to say, but they're also trying to get her to acknowledge a certain someone that's on the screen right there that I don't know if she'll ever acknowledge. It seems like she's going down that path, but I mean, who knows? As long as she's actually speaking the truth, I don't know how much it actually matters. But yeah, I mean, it would be cool if she did. You're stealing all of his talking points now that they've become safe and mainstream. I definitely disagree with that. She might be stealing his talking points, I guess, but I think that Candace Owens has probably thought these things for quite a long time. And I don't think they're safe and mainstream at all. I mean, she literally lost her job at the Daily Wire for saying these talking points, these exact ones that you're saying are safe and mainstream. She got fired for saying them. They are very much not safe and mainstream at all. But like I said, there is also a video clip that we're going to talk about here that accompanies this tweet from Candace Owens. Let's check this out, where she discusses these same topics in response to the Daily Wire in their firing of Candace Owens.
Recognize that it is a unique hate. That if you define it as that Jews should not be able to exist collectively.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as a collective, they shouldn't have that right. Mm-hmm. That changes from the Middle Ages with religion, the 18th through 20th centuries about race, and then after Israel's created, it's a hatred based on the nation. And until that is understood, that it is, this isn't something that's really questioned about among academics, theologians, Jewish scholars. I'm not presenting it. This is why I thought that I'm so optimistic about a dialogue. But I think part of it is you view that the hate can't mutate. And what I'm trying to tell you is that we have 2,000 years of history that demonstrate the exact opposite.
So, and I'm gonna.
If you enjoy content like this, and make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, it really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Just push back just gently here. For me personally, if I thought that racism could just be an ever-shifting definition based on the experience of Black people, it would be a remarkable power, and I would be able to create something like BLM, which could say that everything was racist. So I am not going to be able to agree that definition should be able to transform according to what's happening during the day. But here's what I will say. If you could, just because I think it's really important for us to get to going through this article, because then you might be able to explain why you view it as anti-Semitism. If you could just give us what you are saying the current definition of anti-Semitism is today, that would be very helpful.
The current definition of anti-Semitism today has to do with what the feelings are. It has to do with...
Oh my God, dude. It's like, it's just crazy how, I don't know if this guy, Rabbi Barclay, has been a right-winger. I don't know anything about him, I'll be honest. But he's echoing the same things that anyone who is on the Daily Wire or Ben Shapiro's side of this thing would say. It's about how we feel. However we feel, that's how we can police your speech. If we feel as if we're attacked, well, then that's Ben Shapiro's favorite phrase, anti that word. You know, if we feel like you're disagreeing with us or you're asking too many questions, oh, you're just that word. It's all about feelings with them. And they've always been, you know, the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro have always been the facts and logic people. That's the crowd that they've attracted. That's the audience that they've cultivated. And it's crazy to me because a lot of that audience are now agreeing with people like Rabbi Barclay for saying, oh, the definition of Ben Shapiro's favorite phrase is just how we feel in the moment. However we feel, I mean, that's just how we can call you whatever we want. And it's not like that word holds weight. Once someone is labeled that thing, it's worse than being labeled a racist or transphobe or any of the other istophobes out there. That word, Ben Shapiro's favorite phrase, that's probably the worst label that you could have right now. It's probably the worst one. So, you know, that word holds a lot of weight, and they being able to just feel like you're that thing with no, you know, guardrails of what actually is that thing, what actually constitutes someone being that thing. I mean, it can ruin lives. It can get people fired like Candace Owens. Thankfully, Candace Owens actually has a good fan base that follows her and people who are appreciating that she's trying to speak at least what she believes to be the truth. So she's getting supported. But a lot of people out there, if they get labeled those things, they're done. They don't have a fan base, you know? So that's just ridiculous, dude.
Anti-Zionism, number one. That is a definition. Anti-Zionism, anti-Israel is anti-Semitism.
Okay.
This isn't
so you believe that Jewish people can be anti-Semitic?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when you see a gathering of Jewish people who say, you know, I'm Jewish, but I don't support Israel or Bibi Netanyahu, you say that person can be anti-Semitic. You
just did two different things and was very. You just did two different things that were totally unrelated, Candace.
Okay.
You said that Jews that do not support Israel.
Yes. And you said
Jews that do not support Bibi Netanyahu.
I'm just saying that because he's the current prime minister. So I'm saying, like, if they say I don't support.
No, this is where you're missing the point. So okay. I'm going to go under the following premise. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to go under the premise that you care about people. You and I don't know each other, but I'm going to go under that premise. I'm going to go under the premise that you have no desire to ever hurt anyone. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's the premise I'm coming into this dialogue with. You have been devastatingly hurtful. And
do you guys, like, look, we obviously can't get too deep into these topics on here, but do you guys hear what this guy's saying? He said, not only is are you Ben Shapiro's favorite phrase? If you're, you know, like, obviously the traditional way of being labeled that is if you're anti-Jewish, right? He said if you're anti-Zionist, you're also that thing, which is like equivalent to me saying if you live in, let's say, the UK, and you're not an extreme American patriot, like you think that America shouldn't go and conquer any other nation out there, then you're anti-white. You hate white people. Or we don't even have a word for what this anti-Semitism. We don't even have an equivalent for America. But that's like the equivalent of somebody who lives in the UK who is not an extreme American patriot, who wouldn't go to war and fight for the country and wouldn't support the conquering of, like, America conquering other nations because he lives in the UK and has nothing to do with him. So why the hell would he? Then you're racist. You don't like white people. You hate all Americans, whatever that word would be. That's exactly what he's saying. That's the same equivalent. And it doesn't sound ridiculous coming from them. Like, they coming out of their own mouths, they don't think it sounds ridiculous. When you put it that way, it does sound ridiculous. Like, come on, guys. This stuff it's just going too far. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about Candace Owens. Once again, just shutting down all the Daily Wire nonsense, just putting to bed all the Daily Wire fans out there and all the people who are trying to call her all of these names. Let me know in the comments, do you agree with Candace Owens, or do you agree with people like Ben Shapiro and Rabbi Barclay here? Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about the whole situation.